What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. Today, I want to talk to you guys about why this upcoming Mitsuki versus Boruto battle is something that is going to be something we have to keep our eyes on in terms of the fallout from the battle itself, because I do think we stand a chance of having a major zinger thrown our way at the end of the fight itself. And I wanted to discuss with you what that zinger might be and why it stands a chance at shaking up the story towards a major but much needed outcome. So I think most of us agree, just given how greasy Boruto was talking when he saw Mitsuki about to pull up on him, and Boruto basically said, I'll give you this work, but these hands I'm about to start throwing, they're gonna be breaking bones in the process. That when Boruto versus Mitsuki happens, we'll get a few moments where we see how much Mitsuki improved, and then we'll have Boruto put pressure on Mitsuki and ultimately take him down. Outside of the information we'll get for power scaling purposes to see how much Mitsuki grew and determine where he is on this whole ranking list, since Boruto in base is stronger than Code, who's stronger than Jigen, who is stronger than Naruto and Sasuke. We'll see where does Mitsuki fall. That's going to tell us a lot there, but it's what happens during that fight and most importantly after the fight that has me most interested, because there are a few routes that this can take. Boruto is going to be using some effort in this fight, but he's not going to be using full power. He did say that he would get rough with Mitsuki, but one thing that we consistently see with Boruto is that he does not use his Karma Seal in battle during Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. As Mitsuki is fighting, there should be some alarm bells going off in his head, because Mitsuki and damn near everyone else had their memories altered when it comes to omnipotence being cast. Their memories, they've been altered, switching Boruto and Kawaki in their minds. Mitsuki has previously traded blows to Kawaki in the past. He saw how quickly Kawaki escalated and was willing to use borderline lethal approaches during what should have been a more relaxed sparring mat. This upcoming battle of Boruto versus Mitsuki, in his mind, it should be something that sees Boruto just throw caution to the wind. It's what is most consistent with his memory. But since Boruto Naruto Next Generations has revealed that the omnipotence plot twist, what has been the most consistent thing that we've seen? You can't trust your memories. And what happens when you realize your memories have been altered? Under these circumstances, Mitsuki should be going into a fight thinking he stands a probable chance of dying, but he's still going to leave it all out there as a konoha shinobi to do right by his village and do right by a certain Kawaki. Yet that first volley isn't going to be met with someone who has killing intention the way that Mitsuki's mind has been made up. That first exchange is going to be met with someone who's more annoyed and most importantly saddened by the circumstances they're fighting under more than anything else. And that's what's going to be a very important thing to keep our eyes on. Does Mitsuki pick up on that right away, the way that Naruto's manga hammered in that emotions and thoughts can't cross over between two high-level shinobi fighting without them saying a word? If even a seed of doubt is sowed into Mitsuki's mind, the next thing that happens is going to be very important. Boruto specifically asked Shikamaru about the range of Ino's transmission jutsu. He's going to make it a point to stay within range so that he can speak to Shikamaru and Ino. He's not going to leave the area until he finishes that conversation with them. After Boruto packs up Mitsuki and leaves him laying on the ground with the snake shoved up his butt sideways, if Mitsuki picks up on the possibility that Boruto's potentially staying inside the lane of fire, particularly the range of Ino's transmission jutsu, there should be a light that goes off in his head that something is up and that Boruto was talking to someone. Does he connect it back to Ino? Maybe or maybe not. But the important thing is that Mitsuki's eyes get opened up to what Sada and Sumire have tried to say during this 3 years. Things are not what they seem. At that point, the decision is on Mitsuki. Does he allow himself to continue to be blinded with bloodlust, so much so that he doesn't see reason in this scenario? It's highly possible, it's probable, and in all honesty, on a personal level, I understand where he's coming from. I get exactly how he feels. Longtime viewers who were with me on KRYPTONIAN saying, you guys know the story I'm about to give you a brief rundown on. I'll never forget the person who took Ashley from this world. Ashley being someone who I love more than most of my family. I still get upset thinking about her being brain dead because of what happened, and I'll never forget the person who killed her. So I get Mitsuki. In his mind, he's going to go after this guy Boruto who killed Kawaki, his best friend, and he tried to kill him again after he supposedly killed his parents. I totally understand Mitsuki on that level. If he's the last person who sees reason in this scenario, I get exactly where he's coming from, but I do think we'll see the opposite here. I do think eventually Mitsuki sees the light, because it's something I've said ever since we got the title for Boruto Part 2 revealed as Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. Part 1, by Boruto's words, was the story of father and son. And Part 2, as Boruto put it, was just Boruto's story. Part 1 thematically was the boy who had everything and took it for granted before he lost it all. And Part 2 is thematically the story of the boy who lost everything he took for granted and slowly regains it all. At some point, Mitsuki is going to fall back in line behind Boruto like he always does. That brings us to the next and most important question. What does Mitsuki do when he does either figure out the truth or takes the time to speak with Sarada and Sumire about what has happened with Boruto? I don't think they tell Mitsuki outright that Boruto and Kawaki, they switch lives. Because if they do, then they'll lose their chance with Ada because she's likely watching, and when push comes to shove, as things are right now currently in the story. So I don't care what happens in the future because we're not in the future right now. Ada will always side with Kawaki unless something major shifts, which brings up the Damon issue. I do think we're going to see what Ada told us at play, which is instead of trying to force people to see their memories have been altered, take the time to drop the breadcrumbs and let them figure it out for themselves. The way that Sasuke realized he couldn't trust his own memories and had to actively fight to suppress those memories that were telling him everything he was seeing with his eyes were absolutely wrong, despite what he himself said was a blue-eyed boy in Boruto who reminded him of the blue eyes in Naruto that saved him from being on the wrong path 19 years ago in the timeline. I don't think we see Mitsuki go raise hell at Kawaki saying you lied to me and bring Kawaki and start saying bring me Kawaki the same way Thor did in that iconic scene from Infinity War where he drops down from the sky saying bring me Thanos. I don't think we get that. However, I do think we start seeing something different altogether. Once things begin to click for Mitsuki, I do think he takes the same route that Amato did. He starts playing his cards close to his vest and gather more information without tipping his hand in the process. If you're Kawaki or Ada, you won't know that Mitsuki knows or suspects the truth until he's ready for you to know, and by that point in time, it's already too late for you. Mitsuki knows that this isn't something that he's going to be strong enough to fight Kawaki head up with. It's the whole reason why he waited for a sneak attack, which again, off-guard feats cannot be used for scaling purposes. Unless you're being seriously disingenuous in the process. Again, perfect example, Kaguya is not as strong as Ishiki, she's not stronger than Ishiki. She waited for him to be off guard. Base Naruto is not as strong as Ishiki, all because base Naruto is able to knock off Ishiki's chin guard. That is not the case. Off guard feats do not count. Of course, as we've seen with Mitsuki in this entire time, he don't need much in order to get that work put on Kawaki and leave Kawaki going night-night. It's enough that what we've seen right now is there's enough that Mitsuki knows that his poison snakes, they actually work on Kawaki. He has confirmation of that. And he knows he can get the drop on Kawaki when he doesn't expect it. That's very important context and information that Mitsuki now has. Kawaki isn't going to lower his guard around Mitsuki anymore. You only get one shot like that at someone like Kawaki. You're very lucky if you get two, because chances are he's not going to give you that off guard moment again without a good amount of time passing. And when that time does present itself, you better not miss, because to paraphrase a popular expression, when you shoot at the throne, you better kill the king. I don't think we go as far as Mitsuki supporting Boruto from the shadows like Sarada and Sumire, Kashin Koji, Shikamaru, Ino, but I do think it does make sense that just given that Boruto is going to inevitably regain everything he lost, that does include Mitsuki's loyalty, and Mitsuki is highly loyal. I think for Boruto versus Mitsuki, this isn't the end of something, but rather it's the beginning of something Kawaki probably doesn't want. And there are going to be a few swerves in the story booked in before we finish this whole angle of Boruto the traitor, Boruto the terrible, being revealed as Boruto the hero. What I've been telling you guys is that Boruto in wrestling terms being the heel in the eyes of many in the village and working his way to that babyface turn where he's viewed as the good guy at the end, I think we're going down that route. I think they're setting us up for something good here, and Mitsuki does have a role to play in it. And it makes a lot of sense. Mitsuki was one of the first people to attack Boruto after omnipotence, and he will inevitably come back home at some point. It just comes down to, is he one of the first people to actually come back home to Boruto, or is he one of the last people? Because of that devout loyalty that he has. Mitsuki is the type of person who might be reluctant to think that his memories have been altered. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out moving forward. Almost as interesting as Boruto's overall character arc, which you can see my in-depth discussion on that by clicking on the link on the screen.